Hi, I'm JM Olofsson. Welcome back to the Nine, where we're asking 9 questions to influential figures and characters within the heathen community and Urdr Dypt as well. Today, I'm joined with special guest Chieftain Nance of Urdr Dypt Raven's Nest up in Huntington, West Virginia. Welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and answering some questions that I feel some other people may have as well. And get started.
Okay.
You've had an interesting history of studies from what we've talked about before. I've found it fascinating as I've watched your path and where you've come. Would you mind to talk a little bit about what you had studied before coming into True?
Sure. Before I came into Asatru, I was Orthodox Christian, and I had studied for priesthood with the Eastern Orthodox faith. Um, I had I was probably about a year from ordination to become a priest, and decided obviously that wasn't the path for me. And after that, I got into some Eastern faiths. I was interested in some Eastern faith, such as Buddhism and Shinto. Obviously, that didn't pan out, and my ancestors were calling me home, and here I am.
So do you feel like that was kind of your defining moment when you were in your studies to priesthood, that switch, that change that was made was a call from your ancestors to kind of let you know that's not the path for you?
Yes, it was just a matter of interpreting what that call was, and obviously, it wasn't loud. It took me some time to find Asatru. I knew of the Norse gods. I've heard of them. I studied them in school, but not to a degree that I. It's basically it was just your world religions class. It wasn't very in depth. I had no idea that this was still even practiced, and it took some finding. And one day it clicked. I was hiking in the woods, and all of a sudden I started hearing the name Odin in the back of my head, and I answered it, and here I am.
So up in Huntington, you're kind of in a tough spot for our folk and our people to be outwardly expressive of our faith. Get-togethers, the things that we wear, Mjolnir, clothing, anything referencing really anything other than Christianity, kind of a heavily saturated area of the Bible Belt there.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that as you go through your day-to-day life in that area? Has it ever been pointed out or questioned, or have you ever got any kind of negative feedback about who you are, how you present yourself?
Um, Negative feedback, I would say just a few times. More or less, it comes down to curiosity. Um, a lot of people do not know that these gods are real. They don't. They think of Thor and Odin as Marvel characters. Those who do know are typically a little on the worldly side. I've received a few questions and some concerns from them. Um, a lot of, and I hate to say the word less educated because I don't want to disparage these people, but a lot of people tend to think of it as the same vein as Satanism, um, just under different words. Received some pushback. I've had people openly ask me if I'm racist, because there's a lot of unfortunately it's there. Um, but the Christian community, Muslim community, there's a big Muslim community in Huntington. Um, no, not really. Just question. Just your average questions. A few pushbacks, a few people trying to evangelize, but nothing that I would consider off the wall or anything. It's just except for the Satanism accusations. But what are you going to do?
All right. It's been a little while now since you've been charged with forming and leading community in your area. A while back, by our leadership, you were voted unanimously to take on that task as chieftain there, create and build and provide community. In that time, what have you guys been up to?
Unfortunately, shortly after establishing the community, COVID-19 hit. But we have gotten to meet a few times, and it's been slow going because we haven't been able to meet personally that much. But we've been establishing, we established a code of ethics. We've elected officers. We've been planning our first blot, and what I want to be doing with that is be swearing in or oathing in everybody into the kindred on our first blot together. So it's going to be a very nice moment, very emotional moment, I'm sure. As a kindred, we can finally celebrate together. So that's what I've been working on. We're going to have a naming ceremony coming up in a few months. So we're looking forward to that. So that's kind of what we've been doing in the midst of the pandemic and what we've been up to.
Outside of your blog coming up, once we get past all this COVID-19, have you guys looked further into 2020? I know we had talked a little before about you guys maybe making an appearance at Pagan Pride Day if they still have it.
Yes.
Do you still have plans toward that or any other events or bigger things on into the rest of the year?
Yes. Pagan Pride is going to be something that we're going to participate in if it's still going. I'm probably going to be doing a public rite so people can kind of see what we do. If people are still interested in that, if we can get together and do that. We're going to have a tent there, I think, so people can come to us and ask questions. And I'm not sure what some of the other members have planned yet, if they're going to be selling some of their wares that they make, but we do plan on having a presence there and finally being able to represent Also True at a Pagan Pride event. The community, the wide pagan community seems to be pretty welcoming of us, which is nice.
Right. There's a lot of planning, a lot of responsibility that goes into forming and holding community, especially in your role and leadership and guidance. You had mentioned electing some officers. Who are some of the key figures that have kind of been there with you to help you build and get where you guys are to now, as far as in the Huntington area there?
My law speaker, Chelsea. Chelsea Lucas has been amazing and a key figure of my building of this community. I am not I'm kind of shy publicly, and she's been that mouthpiece and has been helpful in reminding me of things that need to be done. And because while I'm doing this, I still have family life that I have to manage. Go to work every day and everything. And she has been pivotal in helping keep me on track. Couldn't ask for a better law speaker. Andrew, he's our records keeper. He has been awesome in keeping all of our records straight. So if I forget something, boom, he's there. He's got it. That's been awesome. My scald, that's Carter. He's been great. He's been looking up information for things, and unfortunately, he hasn't got to do his duties yet because we haven't got together. But we were going to get together for Ostara, and although we didn't get to do that, he went ahead and published his speech on our group chat, and it was amazing. He did awesome. My other members are great. We've elected a game master, which is Brian. So he's going to be doing games for us and activities. A curator. He's going to be doing things for us as well. That's Ben. He's been looking up also true information online and historical info for us to read over while we can't be together. And of course, my wife's been the backbone of my success. And with her encouraging me all along, I don't know where I'd be. So, I mean, that's a long way to your answer. I guess what I have to say, everybody has been pivotal. Everybody's been key. Without each and every one of those members, we wouldn't have a kindred. Everybody's been pulling their weight.
It takes community to be community.
Absolutely. I'm sorry I rambled there, but I'm not going to leave anybody out.
No, you're fine. Earlier this year, you had a really interesting opportunity to get up in front of a very peculiar group of people and speak on Asatru and some of the aspects of Norse faith. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was an interesting day, and how that came about was odd. There's an adjunct professor, his name's Michael, and he had heard that I'm a priest, Asatru priest, and a chieftain. And he looked me up on Facebook and started talking with me. And we initially had met over breakfast, and he had asked me some questions about the faith and everything. And he is by the way, I want to say Pentecostal. So I think he's a Pentecostal minister, and he teaches world religions class. And I'm thinking to myself this entire time, like, man, really? What am I going to get myself into? I didn't want to do it. I really did not want to do it, but I made a commitment. So I went ahead with it. So I met with him. Super nice guy. Very open-minded. And he was very impressed with what I had to say. And he's like, would you mind talking before my class? Come before my class and talk. He said, would you mind wear your traditional clothing too? I'm like, oh, sure. So I thought I was going to be paraded in front of a zoo. But I got there, and the class was very open-minded. I wanted to say, I think it was like between 20 to 30 people. I can't remember the exact number of people that was there. But college kids, and they were very attentive. They listened to everything I had to say. There were some concerns people brought up, and they had a lot of questions. Non-judgmental the whole time. It was extremely non-judgmental. There were a couple people that had preconceived notions of who I was and what I did, but the professor was very nice. Most of the kids were very interested. They had no idea this religion even existed. So, very cool experience. I would do it again.
Glad that you got to get up there and kind of correct some of the misinformation that floats around and alleviate some of their concerns. And I'm glad that you weren't paraded, but I also know that Marshall University can be a bit of a zoo.
Yeah. I expected. I'm going to be as diplomatic as I can. It's a very non-conservative university for the most part, and I expected a lot worse than what I got. I had a couple people who openly asked me if I was racist, and openly asked me if I was a white supremacist. And when I corrected those misconceptions, they asked me how we weed those people out. And my answer to that is we can't always weed these people out. We can't stop people from being Asatru. But when we find these people within our kindreds, we can immediately expel them. And that seemed to that seemed to be a perfectly fine answer to them. So that's the best we can do.
It's an unfortunate side of things, but it's a side that
Mm-hmm.
we deal with nonetheless. And I feel it's gotten better just in the last few months.
I think so.
Reached a fever pitch, and it's
Yeah.
slowly coming down. You're always going to have
Yeah, I think so.
groups and radicals in any organization, whether it be faith or politics.
Mhm.
As one of the first graduates of the Urdr Dypt ordination program, how do you feel that going through that program and course maybe helped prepare you for the role that you're filling and serving now as chieftain in your kindred and community?
It was extremely helpful because information on our faith is so scattered and everywhere, and you can't really trust a lot of the information that you read. It was helpful to have everything right there, condensed in one spot. And the basic info that was given during that was very helpful to get me started and let me know what to expect, especially with the leadership portion of running a kindred. Um, it was very helpful, invaluable resource, and to this day I still go back and read some of the stuff I may have forgotten.
One piece of advice that you would give someone new to their path,
Mhm.
just in a sentence or two, your best piece of advice.
Read. Um, this is a religion of homework. Um, find someone who knows what they're talking about. Find a group of people that you can trust and do your homework. Read. Don't sit idly by and just hope this information gets sucked into your head, because it's not. You have to read and you have to practice every day. Make your faith your way of life.
You've recently got some big news that's been made public, so I think it's okay for us to talk a little bit here. You found out that you're going to be a father. Congratulations
Yes.
on that.
Thank
How do
you.
you feel about this event coming up in your life now?
Mm.
To have the opportunity
Man,
to raise a child as heathen or also true.
I'm both terrified and excited at the same time. It's my first child. The 10 years of trying to have a child, and the gods have blessed us finally. After we were told we would never have children, and the gods have blessed us tremendously. Um, his middle name will be Björn, and that is in honor of this faith. Um, he, I want to raise him in the old ways. The old ways have made me confident, have made me a better man, and I want to give him this wonderful opportunity to feel the same way I do, and to give honor to his ancestors and to the old gods. Um, and ultimately, the decision will be his when the time comes. But I can do the best I can do, and raise him in faith and community. So uh, I'm excited and I'm terrified.
It never changes. As one father to another, I have 9 children. My oldest is going to be driving this year. You're still going to find ways to be terrified. You're still going to find ways to be excited. So
Right.
be prepared. It's, as with our faith, a lifelong experience and journey, but it's an amazing.
He's going to have a wonderful community here with Raven's Nest. They're they're excited as could be. I mean, they're tickled to death about it, and that's an amazing thing to see. We haven't gotten to meet each other much, but we're in constant communication, and they're giving her so much love. Keisha is a wonderful woman, and has shown a lot of love to people, and she's getting it back tenfold. And Raven's Nest, I love you. Thank you guys so much. And Branson Bjorn will be here shortly in a few months, and I can't wait to watch this community give him so much love.
Well, Chief Nance, thank you for your time and your insight answering these questions for folks here today. Really appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you all then.
Take care, everybody.